A small-town girl and a city-born heir fall in love against all odds. From a chance encounter on a dusty provincial road to building a life together in the bustling city, their story is filled with tenderness, trials, and unbreakable devotion. A journey of two hearts learning that true love isn't about where you come from, it's about what you build together.
Love Stories Max. Welcome to my channel. Enjoy watching, friends.
In the rhythm of two worlds. I always believed my life would remain quiet, simple, predictable, like the slow river behind our old wooden bridge, flowing gently as if time didn't dare disturb it. I lived in a small country town where everyone knew each other, where even strangers greeted you as though you'd met 100 times before. I knew the smell of fresh bread from Aunt Martha's bakery, the squeak of the postman's rusty bicycle, and the rosy evening skies that made our world look like a watercolor postcard. I never thought anything could shatter that peaceful rhythm. Not until he arrived. I was working at a small cafe near the railway station the day he came. The heat was unbearable. It felt like even the air was melting. I was wiping the tables when I heard a sleek car stop outside, shiny, deep blue, clearly expensive. Nobody in our town owned anything like it. Then I saw him. Tall, in a crisp white shirt, dark hair gently falling over his forehead, and eyes like midnight skies. He walked into the cafe with a kind of careful hesitation, as if he didn't quite belong, not just to the cafe, but to our entire quiet town. "Excuse me," he said, his voice warm and low. "Could you recommend something cold? I'm just passing through." I smiled, though my heart fluttered unexpectedly. "We have homemade mint lemonade. I make it myself." "Then I'll take two," he said, looking at me as if I were the most interesting thing in the room. That was the first time I saw his smile, a smile I didn't know would soon become my favorite. His name was Jeremy. He was from the city, the son of a wealthy businessman, though he spoke of that life as if it didn't quite belong to him. He was here for a few days to handle some paperwork for his father's company. But he came to the cafe the next day. And the day after that. And I realized I was waiting for him more than I'd ever waited for anything. One evening, as we sat by the river watching the water shimmer under the fading sun, he said, "You're always so real. In the city, everyone hides behind something. But you don't." I laughed quietly. "I've never had anything to hide behind. I'm just Lydia, and that's enough for me." That night, he held my hand for the first time, gently, almost carefully, like he was afraid to scare me away. It felt like warmth blooming in my chest. One evening, a sudden storm broke out. I brought him a vanilla cupcake because I knew he liked them. We met on his porch, both soaked to the skin. "You're drenched," he whispered, brushing a wet strand of hair from my face. "I just wanted to bring you this." I didn't finish the sentence because he leaned in and kissed me, soft, hesitant, tender. Thunder rolled in the distance, but the world went silent around us. And that was the beginning of our love. He showed me music I'd never heard. I showed him sunsets he didn't know existed. He spoke about skyscrapers, business meetings, and bright city nights. I shared stories of my garden, my fears, my simple joys, my unspoken dreams. We were from different worlds, and maybe that's why we fit so perfectly. But everything changed the day his father came. I was in the cafe kitchen when a tall man in a sharp suit walked in. He didn't even greet me. "You're Lydia? I'm Jeremy's father." My heart dropped. "I'm sure you're a good girl," he said coldly. "But Jeremy has a future. A big one. And it's not meant for small places like this." He didn't say it, but I heard it anyway. "Not meant for girls like you. When he leaves, please let him go without complications." He left without waiting for an answer. And I stood there, feeling small and breakable. That night, I cried until I had no tears left. The next morning, I met Jeremy by the river. "Jeremy," I whispered, "you have to leave." "Who told you that?" he demanded. "You know it's true. Your life is out there. And I'm just a small town girl." He stepped closer, but I stepped back. "If you love me," he whispered, "why are you letting me go?" Because I was afraid. Afraid I wasn't enough for his world. "It's the right thing," I said quietly. His fingers trembled for the first time I'd ever seen. He left the next day. And I stayed, with a heart that felt carved out. A month passed. I pretended to smile, pretended to move on. Then one morning, I saw the familiar deep blue car outside my house. Jeremy stood there, calmer, stronger. "I'm not running from my life anymore," he said. "I'm choosing it, and I choose you. Everything else, I can build again. But without you, none of it matters." I ran into his arms, and he held me as if he'd never let go again. And I knew then, love isn't about where you come from. It's about where you stay. When Jeremy chose to stay with me, I kept touching his hand to be sure he wasn't just a beautiful dream. But he stayed, every day, every moment, proving that love can be stronger than fear. One evening, as we sat on our old riverside bench listening to the crickets, he asked, "Lydia, could you move to the city with me?" My heart tightened, half fear, half hope. "I've never lived in a city," I whispered. "I'm afraid I'll get lost." He took my hand gently. "If you're beside me, you won't get lost. I'll guide you. We'll learn everything together." I nodded. That's how our new chapter began. Leaving my hometown felt like leaving a part of my soul. I touched the doorway of my childhood home one last time, breathing in the memories. Jeremy wrapped his arms around me. "We'll come back to visit. But now, let's build something new." The city overwhelmed me. Cars everywhere, people rushing, buildings that touched the clouds. But Jeremy's hand in mine kept me grounded. We moved into a small but bright apartment on the 5th floor. The first night, I couldn't sleep. The city buzzed endlessly. "You're awake?" Jeremy whispered, sliding closer. "Everything is so different." He pulled me into his arms. "You're not alone. You're in my arms. And you always will be." I fell asleep to the rhythm of his heart. The first months were hard. I got lost in the metro more times than I could count. I felt shy speaking to strangers. Supermarkets looked like endless mazes. But Jeremy was always there, teaching me subway routes, bringing home bouquets of wildflowers, showing me his favorite coffee spots, waiting patiently when I hesitated. "You're my silver lining in all this noise," he'd whisper. Slowly, the city stopped frightening me. Because love makes any place feel like home. One evening, he told me he wanted to show me something special. We climbed onto the rooftop of a tall building. The entire city glowed beneath us, thousands of lights, like stars scattered across the earth. "Lydia," he said, kneeling down, "you are my calm in the chaos. My river in the crowd. My home. Will you marry me?" My breath caught. Tears filled my eyes. "Yes, yes, Jeremy, I will." When he slipped the ring onto my finger, everything fell perfectly into place. Our apartment became a home as we planned the wedding. Shared breakfasts where he misplaced his keys. Evening cooking where he helped even though he had no idea what he was doing. Painting walls together. Falling asleep with paint still on our hands. We were building more than a home. We were building us. And then, the day I found out I was pregnant, my hands shook as I held the test. When Jeremy came home, I couldn't even speak. I just handed it to him. He froze. Then tears filled his eyes. "Lydia, you're giving me the family I always dreamed of." He kissed my hands, my forehead, my cheeks, whispering soft things that melted me. When our daughter was born, I saw Jeremy cry for the first time. "She looks like you," he whispered. "No, she looks like you," I laughed. He held her as if she were the most precious thing in the world. And then he said the words that I will carry forever. "The day I came back for you, I didn't just find love. I found my home. And I realized, home isn't a place, it's a person. And mine is Jeremy. True love doesn't care where you come from, what you have, or how different your worlds may be. It finds two people and teaches them to grow together, to support each other, overcome fears, and build a shared home where once there was only empty space." Love isn't something that simply happens. It's a choice you make every single day. To stay, to hold someone's hand, to learn, to forgive imperfections, and to create a future greater than either of you could imagine alone. A real family is born where loyalty, respect, and the desire to see each other happy come together.